Hey folks, Nick Kuzmas here with Radioworld Garmin. You know, we did a series of videos over the course of the year helping people out with setups, you know, how I use my electronics to help me catch more and bigger fish. That's what it's all about. It's about education and giving you the tools to get the most out of your electronics. I want to talk about now how I utilize both live scopes on my trolling motor. So I have two LVS 34s. I got one in perspective mode generally and the other one in forward mode. This gives me a great advantage, and let's talk about that. What's perspective? 170-degree cone that goes out in front of the boat. It shows me the terrain, everything that's going on in front of the boat. When I have it in forward mode, it gives me a very linear 20-degree cone that goes from the surface to the bottom, and it's really good at like locking in on a target, a piece of cover, fish, whatever it is, part of the structure, a ledge, something that you can lock in on. But you lose bottom content. What's that bottom content? Is it sand? Is it gravel? Sometimes it's obvious when it's sticking up, whether it's a boulder or weeds or whatever. But when you're trying to find little seams, maybe rock to sand, sand to mud, all that stuff, you're not going to see that with live scope, but you will see it with perspective. The other thing it allows me to do, obviously, is cover way more water, because now I have this 170-degree cone in front of the boat as I'm shifting. The way it works really is when you're looking at perspective, the center part of the screen is exactly where your trolling motor is facing. So no matter which way you turn, you're going to see the screen will shift over. It's giving you that same 170 degrees, but now your center is where the trolling motor is turned. So I can literally spin that trolling motor all the way around and get, you know, essentially 360 degrees if I'm trying to figure out what's going on. You know, today we're fishing. It's late fall, as you could see. I'm dressed up for it. We'll be fishing some new water. So I'm going to kind of show you along the way sort of how it helps us lock in on good areas and of course catch fish. And not only that, but it speeds the process up, so I'm not wasting time making casts in areas that don't look good. It's gonna be a lot of fun today. You know, it's almost the end of the season here. Maybe we get another day or two, but I don't even know if that's gonna happen. Let's get after it. It's a big one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a beautiful fish. Over 5, not a giant, you know, not a 7-8 pounder we're looking at, but definitely a beautiful fish. I'll put her back. We actually just caught a couple. My buddy here just missed one, but you know, I had perspective out, you know, and I'm looking at that. There's a rock beside a ledge, and that's kind of what we're casting to, and that's where those fish are. So you can really pinpoint by using both exactly where you need to make that cast. And so many times, particularly at this time of the year, even a 5 or 10 foot away from that fish, they're just not going to go for it. They want it kind of right over their heads. Fab's got one here too. My buddy's got one, and that's how I use both the technologies to really help me lock in on fish, move around, cover water. Like I said, you know, we're fishing a fairly large area, and this could take an entire day just to break down a quarter of it, but we're able to fish most of it because I'm moving around, covering water, finding all those little high spots, the dips, the sharp drops, the flats that got the really nice rock. As soon as I see that real good cover, I know there's got to be fish around. That is so easy to miss, you know. And can you just have one transducer? Absolutely. You know, I have a mount that I could switch from perspective to forward or down, whatever I want real quickly, you can do that. It's just hard when you're also looking for fish. And don't get me wrong, you could see fish on perspective, but when it's busy down there, it gets a lot more difficult. If it's like a sand or gravel bottom, they're much easier to see, and there might be situations where I would just use perspective and not do anything else. But I have that perspective out at 140 feet. I got my live scope out at about 130, and I can just cover water quickly, find all the good stuff, and catch fish doing it. Going back at it. That is a giant beast. All right, go back, baby. Now, guys, that's the kind of results you can get from having both your live scope and perspective. You know, recovering water fast, finding fish, finding key areas that hold those bigger fish, and then that's a result of it. You know, if you have it in your budget and you've been thinking about getting another live scope, having one in perspective and one in forward is definitely going to give you an advantage in many, many different situations. Come down, talk to us, we'll get you set up right.